Hi, everyone. My name is Shaleia and this is our after church tea time for the sermon by Ajahn on receiving. It was an excellent sermon. Ajahn talked about a lot of things that I feel like we can all really relate to when it comes to giving and receiving, and relationships and opening to God and going with the flow with God, and just expressing, sharing our gifts, and receiving all the good that God has to give us. And so I want to open this up and see kind of what you guys' thoughts were on that.
Yeah, thank you. It was a really good sermon, and it spoke to me perfectly. Right now, I am healing a lot in regards to receiving and giving. You know, as we know, and as Asian said, it's like very much connected. It's like when you allow yourself to receive, then you can also give. And these two are like interconnected. There's in spiritual truth no difference. The Course in Miracles, is also speaking about that. And so we all desire to share, to give, and to make an impact in our own way. But we tend to forget about receiving. And it's true when you live your life's purpose in particular that, oh, I would really love to see this dream come to fruition. And I have this peace and awareness I want to share. But I need to receive support in doing so. And so these go hand in hand. And it just reminded me of choosing to receive, to really open up there and to look at all the feelings related to that. Yeah, there's a lot to say on that, but this feels good to just get the discussion rolling.
Yeah, thank you. Receiving has been a big lesson for me, I'll say, on my journey, because after realizing that I am a divine masculine, I was, like a constantly focused, like, okay, now I just have to really give. Before that, there was at least, unconsciously I was giving. But when I was identified that I'm a masculine, I honored that deeply, and I just got into that, okay, I have to just give. And then after some time, it started feeling that, I'm just doing it outside and not really enjoying or not feeling content within. And then I realized that, being a masculine just does not mean that I just constantly give on, go on giving, and then I losing my own balance. And that has been my, pattern in some or other way. And then I learned how to balance it in case of life purpose. But when it is not healed at the core, and then we meet our twin flame, then it intensifies. So that's exactly I again repeated when I met my twin flame. So when the relationship dynamic started going on, I was like, okay, I'll be the man and I'm just going to give everything. And I have to just take care of everything, like a kind of soulmate, old pattern of relationship dynamic. Then only when I was like absolutely drained and did not feel like connecting, then I realized that, it's time that I really have to choose to receive. It's like God is really guiding me that it's height of arrogancy that make a choice and to receive. And only when I opened up to receive, then I realized the true meaning of twin flame, and really realized that, what exactly it means to receive love. Because in life has always been like, giving, constantly understanding giving. And then also I actually truly deeply understood what exactly giving love means. Because only when I received it deeply, the God loving me through my twin flame, I was able to actually give more. And that's when I realized that, okay, that I can relax, that I can be loved, I can receive love, and then I give my love. And then I'm slowly still grounding and balancing, understanding what exactly where it is. But it really felt good, receiving And then I opened up myself to receive from everybody around me. Yeah, that felt really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I like how you said like opening up, because I feel like that's really the key. And Ajahn talked about this too, that to like not receive is like a type of control, because you're like not
Exactly.
allowing the flow to come and, go. Like
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
it's just a relationship with God.
The infinity symbol, the way he explained,
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
loved that.
Yeah, it actually takes a lot of energy to try to restrict that flow, or to like
Yeah.
hold yourself back, or to, block off the good that's, flowing back to you. And, it's really because it is just God. It's not like coming from outside of us. It's just that relationship, and relationships have that like back and forth thing. And it's like controlling it is like you're kind of cutting off the relationship and saying, I don't want to have a relationship here,
Exactly.
And so yeah, it's I really like that perspective on it, because I feel like, like giving and receiving are not separate from each other, and Jeff and Shaleia talk a lot about this, and it's like having that whole experience, and that's really juicy for us. Like we want the whole thing. We don't want to just have like a little bit of God over here in this one way. And so yeah, it's just like that expansion. We all desire to have more God, and this is the way to do it, to have that exchange, so to speak, that, giving and receiving.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, since Madhu mentioned on healing in your twin flame relationship about receiving and giving, like how did you practically do it? I think there are a lot of people watching that are interested in like receiving and like giving.
Yeah. It
How?
was like, it was specifically happening when it comes to communication. It was like she was absolutely open, communicating everything. And I was like, okay, I cannot deeply share what exactly I'm feeling. And, she cannot hold that space for me. And that's why I was like, doing the mirror exercise with myself or with my coach, but really not doing that in the relationship. So far I have been doing the inner work so that I can communicate with my twin flame. And now when the time is there, I was not opening up. So one day it was like our coach ended the session that both of you must sit down and talk with each other. So it started with like, I just shared what exactly I was feeling. I was deeply feeling rejected because of some physical, body image issue I had. So I was not able to share with her that, that I have body stitch mark or body, those kind of thing. And that's why I'm feeling that you are not going to, accept me because you are so beautiful outside. And she was like, oh my God, this is the thing that, she received me completely, but I was not able to tell her that. And then I literally cried in front of her. And at that day, I realized that, okay, I'm just becoming so hard on myself. I can just make a choice to receive, and God is going to love me completely. And yes, it's not like that man is like this and woman is like this. And, we have to, specifically it is about the flow, that the way, sorry, I described, like if I'm feeling something, I'm completely open to share and just open up to receive there. That's what I learned. And then after that, I started feeling comfortable in communicating everywhere. It was not like that I was not communicating there. After that, I started feeling comfortable, like, sharing, okay, this is how I feel. This is how I feel. At least, opening up to, okay, to express that, okay, I'm not feeling good here. Can we make some changes here? That the way we can, modify some of the thing outside. And I'm still learning to express everything. But yes, I received that lesson.
Oh, that's so beautiful. What I really got from that is to, if you have this stuff inside of you, of like, ooh,
Totally.
it can feel really good to open up there, to bring it to the table and be like, this is it, and then God can love you there when you give it to Him.
Beautiful, the way you explained, exactly, like I was like filled up, rejection, 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 then how can I, love her? Because deep within me, I was feeling rejected. So only when I emptied myself, then the love went inside. It's good.
Yeah, I love that because, like what you were talking about, like starting with the choice, like the choice that I want to
Yes.
receive, I want to go here. Because when it comes to giving and receiving, some of these wounds are like really sensitive for us, like places where we've been either, feelings of being hurt, feelings of not, feeling safe, not trusting, things like that. And it can feel like a lot for people, like when they're moving through this. I know I've definitely come across this on my journey as well. And it was sensitive, the things that it brought up for me when I was healing around this. And it's safe to be compassionate with yourself and really like just be honest about where you are, because that's like really the first step, is to like really make that choice. I want to heal this. I want to have more God in my life. I want to have more experience of God and receiving, and being willing to be honest with what's going on inside of you, like what the fears are, whatever it is. Like, we're always safe to explore those things. And so, and and in this community especially, like we're surrounded by divine relationships and people who are genuinely loving and safe. And so there's a lot of healing that can come up even in the community, being around each other, communicating in the forums. And yeah, it's just like, it's safe to be honest and to just like, be honest with yourself first, of like how you really feel, and go there. And yeah, it's a beautiful thing. There's nothing that can really hold us back when we really decide to heal.
That's where my block was. I was like, my understanding of honesty was like, I will be honest. But when it was coming to the receiving honesty, so that's where I was, well, everywhere I was blocked. Okay, I'll be honest, I'll be humble, I'll be this, I'm constantly focused on how I can give. But I was like having a wall when it comes to receiving that in equal exchange. And then that's why it was not a good feeling, not a peaceful feeling, because the way you explained, it's a wall, it's not balanced. And only when it is healed in the both way, that I'm also giving honesty and also receiving honesty, that's where I can relax. And that's what I realized in the forum or in this community, that this is the space where I can honestly open up and give honesty. And as I know, this is a place where the honesty is integrated completely. So I'm going to receive that honesty, I'm going to receive that safety. So it is safe to open up here and heal, truly heal at the soul level. Yeah, this is the beauty of this community. Yeah. And I'm honored to receive this community, I'll say. Thank you.
Yeah, it feels amazing to be here. And I think a lot of people have that feeling of, oh my God, I'm not sure if I can open up. I have maybe not the best experiences from the past. And so for a lot of people, it's like, oh my God, I am actually receiving love if I share myself. And even if I just give this little thing, God will still catch me through these loving people, and really reach me, and really heal me where I need to be loved. And interestingly, I saw a class, a Twin Flame Ascension School class with Jeff and Shaleia today, where they helped Marianne, if you know, through a receiving block. And it was basically, I think the essence of it, I'm still watching through it, it's like 80 minutes in. The essence of it so far was that, ooh, I'm not sure if I can open up, maybe I am being hurt. But then Jeff and Shaleia responded to that in the sense that, well, what is actually out there, And then, well, everything can hurt me. But what is everything? Isn't everything God? Isn't God everything? And isn't God love? And so I think that really helps if we understand that, well, if I'm opening up to everything, which is love. So I can only be loved when I'm opening up.
Yeah, I know for me that was like a huge thing, especially joining this community. I was very reluctant and very skeptical, and I wanted to like check everything out, like just tiptoe around it, like get to know people very slowly and really like see like, is this, safe? Is this a safe environment for me and a safe community? And yeah, it really is, and it's one of those things like it kind of takes that initial like courage, I guess, to go somewhere that maybe you've been hurt before and to be willing to just like explore it. And but yeah, like, at every turn I was met with love, and that was so healing for me because it gave me like permission to have a new experience and to like experience what you're talking about, Fabian, of like, it's really just God, you're only going to be loved. And, it was like the degree to which I was willing to open my heart was the degree to which I allowed that healing to take place. And so, yeah, it's this community, I just like, I can't talk about enough, like how wonderful it is. And especially in this particular area of healing, because the way that everything is, the way that everything is set up, the way that we all work together and serve together and connect, it's just, this is like divine relationships, and we're all kind of like learning this together because, this is something that's kind of, not all of us have had a lot of experience with divine relationships before this community. And so it's definitely like we're all growing and deepening our understanding on this topic, I feel, all the time as we like grow together, heal together, and yeah, like we're ascending together. We're all one ultimately. And so yeah, it's a beautiful, like kind of like like a workshop, you're like kind of like doing something hands-on. It's kind of like that's the feeling of it. It's like this very interactive like life experience that you're growing and learning through, along with just studying the work and doing your own inner work. It's like your life purpose isn't separate from your inner work. It's not separate from your union. It's all connected. And so it's a very immersive healing experience. It's really nice.
One thing that is coming to me now is like today only I was going deeper and understanding how was my life before coming to this work, and then how is my life currently integrating, and what are the changes has come over this years of healing. Then one thing specifically that came up is I was doing exactly the same thing. Most of the time I was doing the same thing, but currently I'm doing it from a place of peace and joy and feeling very relaxed into it. Earlier it will be, there will be a lot of tension, anxiety, anger, fear, and all those things, emotion behind it. So I never used to be relaxed what the result is going to come, because I don't know what I'm putting in. But now there is a difference that, I'm going to receive a very beautiful result, whether in a form of failure or success, because in both of them I have my learning. But I'm doing it with a, space where I'm just exploring, like, okay, I can put this, I can put that, I can try this. I'm giving myself that allowance that I can try new things where I don't have the fear, and I can just walk the journey and then see what is coming up, rather than doing the things monotonously. Every day I'm doing the same thing, but there is a change, there is a new look towards it. And Ozin also touched upon that when it comes to leadership, specifically when we are working in a team. And earlier there was experience that when it used to be leadership, that means I'm the leader, I'm just going to give, I come with my rules and bossy, all those things. But now when it comes to the leadership, it comes with whom I am working, there is a feedback system, there is an exchange going on. I'm also learning from them, and the way I'm also learning and exchanging my knowledge. So this feels good and easier, that there is a team, there is a support, God is flowing through them to me. And that feels good. Receiving the leadership abilities in this space feels really good compared to what I used to experience before. So in all aspect, there is this element of receiving God, whether in form of learning or just expanding and growing. But yes, it is all the day, it is growing only. That's the thing. Yeah.
And what I'm sensing also here is that usually people try to hide stuff. And especially when it comes to business-related things, when it comes to a leader and someone who is following this leader in business, then people really are only beginning to open up to the idea of, well, the leader can have some flaws, can make mistakes, and can be vulnerable. And this is actually where the healing occurs, is when you are authentic and when you are as you are in that moment. And what we are learning, especially in this community, or what you can learn with people that are choosing love, is that it is actually working. You know, you are not losing when you are authentic, when you are vulnerable. And yeah, this ultimately reminds me of something that Jeff has shared on yesterday in the Ascension group coaching, that you are basically always sharing your own progress, your own healing, your own insights. And that is what you're doing basically as a leader. You know, you are on the ascension path, you are moving through the challenges, and you are extending your awareness, your insights from what you're moving through to the other people, and you are inviting them to do the same. You know, this is really a nice dynamic of a divine system.
Yeah, and something that's coming to me is just how like this is different than the way that I used to see work and the way that I used to see like giving and receiving, like before I found this work. And like I used to see it like my parents, for instance, with their work, they were like workaholics, had a lot of imbalance in that area, a lot of self-abuse type stuff with the way that they were living. And I associated that as like, you know, work is sacrifice. I have to take from myself to give to another. And, you know, one thing that I've been healing and really like recently, like probably in the last 2 or 3 months, came to like a deeper understanding here of like, it feels really good to just be and to just give, because that's a natural flow. And everything is very natural because it's the way that God designed us. And in that, like when we're not sacrificing of ourselves, we're giving from that overflow. And like really like what you're talking about, you know, Fabian, from the class, is it's like it's a very natural flow of like I receive, I heal, I give my gift, and then it's just like this constant natural thing. And it doesn't feel bad, it doesn't feel heavy. Ajahn talked about this too, like how he used to experience feeling really tired and not having a lot of energy to do a lot of work, or just feeling that like imbalance because it was like that, you know, not going with that flow, you know. And yeah, it feels good to know that in giving and receiving, we don't have to sacrifice, and we don't have to, you know, what feels bad about that a lot of times is just that control and leaking all of that energy. And yeah, it's like very natural for us to just be ourselves and just share our light. And it's like breathing. It's like, you know, you breathe in and you breathe out. It's just like a natural flow of life. And it feels good to get out of your head about it and to just be and to just express that.
Yeah. One thing that came to me now is like the more I am relaxing with myself and embodying my divinity, I'm constantly receiving God and understanding what exactly true image of God for me. Now I'm getting a real essence of who is God, and only by receiving I can, you know, get it. I cannot get, there is no upward flow that I'll give to God. Only I can serve God. But when it comes to understanding God, only when I receive openly, empty myself and receive Him openly and listen to Him openly, then only I understand what He is. Otherwise, it will be like my definition, or it's maybe my understanding, my limited belief. That was what defining God, and that's where it never felt good when it comes to God. You're feeling like, constantly I have to be afraid of, or something around, like negative thoughts around God. But when only I opened and received completely, I surrendered to the teaching and received it from Jeff and Shaleia, then only I understood and I realized what God is and how God is playing its true role in my life. Yeah, this only happened only because of I was able to open up myself to receive the beauty of receiving. Yeah.
And yeah, we're usually afraid of what we don't know. And we basically shield ourselves from knowing when we are protecting something. So as we are opening up and we are just observing as is ourselves and the people surrounding us, and we're just really honest with our experience, then we can get to know ourselves, our people, and through all of that, obviously also God, and we can have this direct relationship to God within and through all. And so I guess an essence that we really mention here a lot is to let go of the protection, to let go of the barrier, to let go of the shielding, because I think Shaleia also said this, that now you can be in the flow. Now you are connected to life, and it feels good to choose connection and to choose life, and then you get a feel for, oh, actually, people are not as I have imagined them to be. I saw just this idea of them, and because I was protecting stuff, this is what I experienced. But now letting go of that, I can actually be like, whoa, you're not trying to hurt me. You're not trying to get something from me by telling me that I have a nice dog. You're actually just genuine, and you are having a good time, and you are giving your best in loving me. And here it can really help when it comes to divine relationships. I think this is what we are really learning in our community now. Or you can have a relationship not only with the twin flame, but a really deep friendship with anyone in the community. It really helps to share what you are experiencing and to bring it to the table and be like, what do you think? This is my experience. And this is weird to me, or this is what I am receiving from that. What do you think? And then, no, actually, this is what the intention was. And then it's like, oh, no, it makes sense. Now I can let go of limiting belief, and now I can see reality as it is. And I had this glimpse of oneness with this other being. And this is what we are like waking up to, I feel.
Yeah. One thing also that is touched me, what Arjun shared is like, only when we receive, we can grow. Earlier I was on the mode that only by giving I will grow. That's why I was constantly giving. But only when I am receiving, I'm opening myself for the receiving, I'm actually receiving the pieces which can construct me. And then one image just came to me that when I used to work in the corporate and I was working for an international organization. So I used to work for, like, when I used to talk to a German people or a US people, so there was always a shield. And today, when I'm talking to you and Shaleia together, it feels, I can relax, I can talk because, there is love here. We are just connected. It feels there is a oneness because we have everybody here chosen a oneness in God. And I'm not creating that wall for myself. And now I can see that throughout all my past, there was a wall within me. And that's why I was not able to receive them. And now as I opened up, as I chose to receive, then God is giving me more. And it feels good. It feels good to connect and expand.
with that, I've actually got a question from the viewers. Lisi was asking for you guys, the Divine Masculines, to share a little bit about your experience with receiving through giving. What is that experience like for you guys?
When I started as a, I'll go back to being a coach, as a Ascension coach and a MAP practitioner. That's where I truly understood what giving is. Before that, it was like, okay, start, do the work, done. But today, when I am coming to the session or interacting with another person, coming with the intention to love them. And earlier I was giving, okay, some time or maybe some work or something. But today I'm not limiting. I am opening up myself and trying to give love. Just give love, allow love to flow through me, and introduce the person to the concept of God. And when the person receives that God and the person experience that joy and happiness in them, that gives me that passion within me, and that makes me natural desire comes, or that motivation comes, that I want to grow. I want to also know God more, so that this flow should not stop. And that's what I realized, that every time I'm only growing, but the more I'm giving, the person actually reflecting back that love, that gives me that life, that okay, I want to know God more. So that is how I will put that this helped me by giving what I'm receiving. And obviously in twin flame thing, so yeah, anything that has been taught in the classes, in throughout all the twin flame ascension classes, and I have learned through the theory, that's what I am now really experiencing in the real life. Only by the more I'm unconditionally loving, that's where I'm receiving that unconditional love. Yeah, so this is what I am experiencing.
What I have also experienced on that, I think especially with the Divine Feminine, is that it's almost as if the Divine Feminine can be in a state of receiving, where it feels really easy and effortless and enjoyable for me to just give to her. And there's no resistance of receiving and giving. And that feels really good to me. And I'm like, when the Divine Feminine receives, oh, my cat is doing stuff. When the Divine Feminine receives, then I feel like encouraged to give more in that. So I feel like in the Divine Feminine receiving what I am giving, I am receiving as well, and I feel like giving more to that.
Yeah, it's really amazing, like how God created us all, and it's like just us being ourselves and just like relaxing and surrendering to God, and everything just flows perfectly. And it's like we all have, a place, a gift to give, and yeah, whether it's through our life purpose, whether it's through the way that we give and receive through masculine, feminine energies, it's like, it's just all this perfect natural flow of life. And yeah, it's a very beautiful thing, how like all of life supports us, and we also support all of life, and just loving and being with God. Beautiful. I'm going to see if we have any more questions and just see here. Sometimes it can be a little, I might not be able to see everything. But let's just check in. I saw we did have like a couple comments of people just really resonating with the sermon and just this topic, because I feel like this is something that, we've like, like I said, kind of in the beginning, it's like something that we all resonate with, and we're all healing on some level, and always going deeper into and exploring like what it means to really give and receive. And yeah, it's something that I feel like a lot of us can really relate to.
There was something shared by Asian today, and that was mentioned again by Element Brienne in the end. Some kind of like question, like a good question that we can ask ourselves. Does anyone remember? I hope someone remembers. No? Well, if I remember correctly, it was about receiving, like maybe what are the places where you can still receive from God, or where God wants to give you, but you haven't received yet. Something like that, maybe. And yeah, I think this is really cool to invite ourselves to just reflect on that. Like, well, this is my life right now, but the Ascension is an expansion. So God is always sharing more with me, inviting me to more. And what is his next gift to me, and where would God really like to love me more, but where I haven't fully chosen to receive it yet. Right now I'm just receiving from my cat.
Yeah. Just one thing that came up. Sorry, I'm getting some of the things on the way. Is like still now I'm healing my receiving block. At times it comes like, what if I receive the same thing I have received in the past? And going deeper there, I realized that only the past is showing up to be healed. It is not showing up to scare me or remind me that, I'm going to receive the same thing. That's not my choice. My choice is to grow. My choice is to ascend. And receiving my own ascension is itself is a divine choice. So only when I'm, making that choice, that I'm choosing to receive my ascension, and I'm not defining how my ascension is going to look like, that's where I'm able to receive in a beautiful way. Only when I'm putting expectations and conditions, that's where I'm actually blocking my own receiving, or the true receiving from God. And really good things started happening when I stopped asking God that, God, give me this, then struggling with that, why it's not happening. But only when I release that, I'm just making that, God, I choose to receive love. Only making that choice that, God, I choose to receive love, and then allowing God to love me. That's where I'm receiving the beautiful gifts directly from God. And that's where I realized that, I can just make one choice that, I choose to receive love and allow the process to happen. That feels easy, and, making my life beautiful also.
Yeah, I love that point, Madhu, because I feel like surrendering, like what it looks like on like in both ways of like how God is calling you to give, and also what God is, offering for you to receive. It's like we don't really have control over that, and that's okay. It's trusting God that he knows how to meet our needs and to give us that next piece, whatever that is for us, and really like surrendering to that process. Because like, the way, like kind of going back to like, previous understandings I had of like giving and receiving with that controlling attitude of like, this is how it should be. I need to sacrifice this. And then there's expectations of how life is supposed to love me. That is really miserable. And I think like a key part of this giving and receiving thing is the surrender of like, I don't know what God's going to ask me to do next. And I don't know what God's going to present to me next, or what he's going to give me to receive next. And it's safe to trust God with that whole process. And it's like that's what really allows us to surrender that control. And it's part of receiving. We can't receive the gift if we're over here trying to make something else happen, because we have expectations on it. And so yeah, and we talked about this a little bit earlier too. It's like sometimes it's a lesson that we're receiving, and we might not be able to initially like see the gift. And so it's just really allowing ourselves to go wherever God, leads us, and receive whatever God presents to us.
And something else that Jeff shared yesterday, another Jeff nugget here, is that the purpose of life is basically to serve God. And sometimes it can look different from what you think is the next best thing to do. For example, Jeff gave this example of where there's stuff to organize my space. And that would logically make me feel really good, because I look at it, it doesn't look nice in this, not in order, basically. So it would make sense to fix it, but it could, there could be something else that God is inviting you to do. God could be like, well, actually, do this other thing, and maybe do this later. Maybe focus on the actual life purpose thing right now. And this is, what Shaleia also shared, is really like trusting God there. And for me, it's making it a habit to be like, okay, what is the next thing you would want me to do, God? What is the next thing you are inviting me to do? And then trusting that I am receiving the right answer. And sometimes it's just feeling, sitting with it, processing, and then there's this like, there's this insight, there's this clarity. Oh, I don't need to go to get some new groceries today, because I actually have enough in the fridge still. So I can do work on this nice project that I really desire to work on. And maybe I would want to rush to this reward thing that I think gives me the reward, but actually doing this more peaceful thing that God is inviting me to do makes me feel much better overall, gives me like instant peace, and there will still be time later on for that video game or whatever, and just always inviting God in what you are sharing and doing.
Yeah, as you are mentioning Jeff's classes, so just before the session, I had my group classes. He took us deeply in understanding, what is the difference between serving the God and coming out of the pattern that, there is a pattern of sacrificing, somewhere that we believe that we are sacrificing. No, the more we get into the serving of God, that's where we receive. He took us deeper into today, like taking out, reading a message from the book and just reading one paragraph that God is guiding. That's where God is giving the message so that I can receive it in the beautifully way. I know he explained and interpreted how he felt about it, and the perfect answer lies there. Rather than we constantly thinking and depending, trying to get it from the mind, maybe God can guide us to get the message through the oracle card or maybe some messages. So it is, he was helping us to deeply get into this mode of surrendering and allowing God to answer in a way that is peaceful. And that can only happen with a choice of ease. The more we relax, the more we feel grateful, the more we feel that, yes, we have come along a lot and it is going to happen. It's a never-ending process. And that felt really good, that just relax and allow it to flow. And yes, one beautiful thing I received just coming up, so I will just share it. When I came out of my soulmate relationship, I came out of my marriage, and then I had actually developed a lot of properties I earned through my job and everything. And I sold them out because I wanted to clean the relationship. But there was always a sad or resentment that I lost my property and all that thing. But as I healed and I was healing my receiving block, just last week I signed up another property, and that felt really good. It was like one of my friend called me, this is a beautiful property coming up. He called me on Wednesday, and Thursday I booked it. Like, oh my God, you gave me, it is so instant. So that is how it feels. God never takes, so it's only God is helping us, taking away the things which are not serving us. That does not mean that we are closing ourselves to receive our own good. That's not the purpose. God is taking out and God is filling up constantly. But at this time, I'm deeply learning that I'm going to receive the way God is giving me. And what God gives it was tremendously beautiful experience, felt good.
Yeah, that reminds me of something that, Jeff and Shaleia talked about. I believe it was in the e-course, Dreams Coming True. They talk about how like the desires come from God, like they're of the Father. And it's like, remembering that God's the one who put all those desires in our hearts. Like everything, when we're coming up with a love list, everything that we're envisioning that we desire, it's because God put that in our heart to desire it. And so it's really safe to trust God with what it looks like and how it comes to be, and really like trust that even if things are not the way that you think that they should be, or look the way that you want them to look, or whatever, according to your understanding, it does not mean that God's like not going to love you and he isn't already showing up for you. It's just, like surrendering those expectations and really like allowing yourself to, let everything come full circle, like God, everything begins with him, and everything, all the seasons that change, everything that, shifts in our lives, God is in control of, and he knows what's best for us. And yeah, it's always better than we imagine. And we get there a lot faster when we just allow. So yeah, it's good. And congratulations too on that breakthrough. That's awesome.
Yeah, and this happened only when I learned how to receive from my twin flame. Only after when I received completely, I surrendered, I became vulnerable. That's where the flow started to begin. And again, then I saw that this sermon is coming. Okay, so God is helping me to deeply understand that surrender. It's okay to, today I am in a state where I completely trust that I don't know anything. God teach me, God show me, and I'll learn. I'm open to learn, I'm open to receive love. And in that way I feel like I'm expanding, I'm growing more. And this feels good, this feels complete. This is what I always wanted to have, and this is the answer.
God always has the answer and the solution and the way forward that feels good. And whatever you may be experiencing or moving through, there's always a bigger picture. And maybe right now it doesn't make fully sense, but clarity is arising, and God is like moving us through each step of the hallway. And so we will, arrive at the end of it and see the daylight again. But I get the sense that it's always really effective. It's only what we need to move forward all the time. There's no too much. There's only like the perfect amount of guidance. And the journey really focuses you on what is essential and what is important and what you really need to move forward. Well, I don't know what I am about to do, but I can just ask God, what is the next step? Well, I guess I haven't had my whatever dinner yet, so it's time to have dinner. And then getting this process started, new ideas come up. Oh, well, actually, I really feel like watching this sermon again while I'm preparing my dinner, just letting this thing play, and then new insight is coming up. Oh, I really want to message this person about this insight from this sermon. And, this person then is going to message me back, and then there's something else developing from that. And yeah, that's the beauty of life when we surrender there.
I feel like it's a really good reminder too that what we desire is God, and we have God right now. So there's no like destination that we're going to get to, or we're going to receive that thing that we want so bad and it's going to like fulfill us. That's the illusion. It's like, it's being with God in this moment. It's having God with us in this moment and experiencing God, and, being with him in the things that we do and in the things that we receive in this moment. And because it's always in this moment, it's safe to let go of all those expectations, because that's like that's that expectation of like something's going to come and make things different, but God doesn't show up because he never left. So it's just really, yeah, I think that's key with all of this is in the process of surrendering. It's this perspective of understanding that, you know, it's God that we want and God isn't somewhere else. And so whether we're giving, whether we're receiving, we're with God. And that's the most important thing. And, you know, if we have that, and if we know and recognize that that is what we really desire, you know, all these other things just naturally come together. And it's just a matter of how am I going to experience God in this moment? It's not if I'm going to experience God and when and how and what it's going to look like. It's I'm with God. Okay, God, how would you have me experience you right now? You know, what do you want to do? Like, you know, how can I spend time with you? And it'll, you know, it'll be giving, it'll be receiving, it'll be the whole thing. And we don't have to worry about it. We can just be with God. So that's the treasure. And it's a really good reminder of that, of just, you know, what you're saying, Fabian, of like, it's just, you know, the whole process that we can really enjoy. Let go of all those judgments.
By the way, you're going to say something or?
Sorry, it's my alarm for my class.
I see.
Yeah, I wanted to share something. One thing came up from today's class only, where Jeff mentioned that it's harmonious union is not the answer for what we are desiring. It's the God, that's what we are desiring. So it's time to open our heart and receive God. When we receive God, and everything else comes into place. So the whole process is to receive, focus your attention on receiving God, and then enjoy God with twin flame. That felt really good. Yes, I cannot make God happen to my twin flame, or my twin flame cannot make God happen to me. I can only ascend to receive God within myself, and that's where we share that bond together. And that's it. That's the common thing that we are everybody desiring, and it's safe to go there and receive Him.
That's releasing a lot of pressure, you know, that you may be putting on your twin flame or on yourself or on your union, because God is always there, and there's unconditional love, and God is always loving you and guiding you up that mountain. And yeah, in perfect order, you will realize that your twin flame is accompanying you, you know.
Yeah, any kind of getting toward the end here, any last thoughts that you guys have or anything you want to share? Any final insights or a lot of different things that we talked about today. We covered like a lot of different aspects of receiving. So yeah, I'll just open the floor one last time. Any other comments that you guys have?
Just a choice, like I choose to receive and give with God. This is something that I'm going to take with me, in particular this upcoming week.
Yeah, I am deeply going into receiving God and then giving from that place, and yeah, just going deeper with God.
Yeah, I think for me, it's like just worthiness, like really opening your heart and claiming that you are worthy of receiving your good and receiving God and having a life where, you know, there's that full experience of God. It's not limited in any way. It's not controlled. And yeah, it's safe to open our hearts and have all the God that we desire and just be with God. So yeah, thank you so much, you guys, for joining. Sorry, Harvey says goodbye. Thank you guys so much for this amazing discussion. I really appreciate it. And thank you to everybody who watched. I hope that you enjoyed the sermon. You can always catch it on the Church of Union YouTube channel if you want to go back and rewatch it. And we will see you guys next week. All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.